historian Dan Orlovsky, ESPN NFL analyst and former NFL quarterback. You can see him on NFL Live Monday through Friday at 4 Eastern. So now it's personal with the Cowboys and the 49ers after that? How do you explain that?
It's a tough one to try to wrap your head around. If it just as knowing the type of competitor that Micah Parsons is, at least from the outside, and the way that game was played and looked, the way that the last 3 times those teams have played and looked. So I'm a huge fan of Micah's. I think that, when you have kind of your own platform, you've got to be responsible for the things that you say. And he's going to have to know that people are going to dissect this opinion that he had. So I think Micah, when even after the game, Dan, he was like, they're not that much better than us. Micah, they should have hung 50 plus on you guys. That we can sit here and say that the 49ers are absolutely in a class higher than the Dallas Cowboys. So, hopefully the rest of his team kind of takes it personal if and when the next time these two meet.
How do we not overreact to that outcome, whether it's what the Cowboys lack or, what the strengths are of the Niners?
I don't think we have to overreact, Dan. I think we could talk about San Francisco and say this. They are absolutely who they have been for the past 4 or 5 years, but better. And I think the one reason is, and I said this on NFL Live, I think maybe yesterday or Friday or whatever, I really believe that Brock Purdy has unlocked a different level in Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has always been a phenomenal offensive mind. He's been one of the best in the NFL. But in many ways, like Kyle's offense, certainly in San Francisco, was very horizontal. And it was awesome. And Jimmy G was awesome in it. Not awesome. Jimmy G was really good in it. Brock Purdy's kind of ability to still stretch the ball downfield accurately and at the right times has allowed Kyle to stretch it out horizontally and vertically at the same time. And that really wasn't the case that often. If you go back in the third quarter, and this is why San Francisco, in my eyes, is different. And this is why it's a different Kyle. It's 3rd and 3. They're up 21-10 with like 8 minutes. It's 3rd and 3, and he throws the shake route or a corner route to Brandon Ayuk. It's perfect versus man coverage. Holding. Brings him back. It goes to 3rd and 13 or 3rd and 14. Now, usually, Kyle would throw some form of like a screen there, a perimeter screen, and they'll go get it. Yesterday, on Sunday night, he throws another drop back, big in route to Deebo Samuel, and Purdy lofts it over the backers perfectly in stride. That I see that as a different offense because of Brock Purdy. So we could say that about San Francisco. In regards to Dallas, Dallas is a really good football team. We can't say that they're not really good. But it is also accurate for us to say that we thought that they would be a upgrade this year than they were last year. And after Sunday night, we can't say that. We can't say that they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender when they just got the floor wiped by San Francisco, and the way that their offense looked and the way that their stagnant play calling was and the way that Dak played and the minimization of their defense. We can't say that. So I don't think it's an overreaction, no.
If I find it interesting, the swing of emotions or opinions on Brock Purdy, that it was, well, he's surrounded by all this talent, to now he's the next Joe Montana or Tom Brady with, similar skill set. Rex Ryan talked about that on Get Up, where he's like, oh, my God, I see Tom Brady. Or Charlie Weiss, I see Joe Montana here. He's not Tom Brady from the physical attributes. I mean, he would be more like Montana. Slight of build, has a little bit more athleticism, not necessarily a great arm. But how did everybody miss on that? Every team passed on him 7 times. If he has all of these innate abilities, but we missed it. I mean, why? How?
San Francisco missed on him for 6 rounds too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
It's funny, Dan. So I called his game against Notre Dame. It was his bowl game, and I think it might have been his sophomore or junior year. I don't exactly remember the year. And you saw he was like a really good college quarterback. But you didn't walk away going, whew, that dude's going to be awesome in the NFL. And Anthony Beck actually texted me during the draft process of last year. Anthony Beck, longtime NFL tight end. And he said, tell me what everyone's missing or how everyone's missing on Brock Purdy. Like what are they not seeing? And I would just responded back like, I think he's a really good college football player. I don't know, if I see awesome NFL player. Why did everyone miss? I think one, the most important traits that a quarterback can have for high level consistent success he has, and they're the ones you can't measure. What do you do in moments of panic with the football? How quickly do you understand the information and then apply the information on a play by play by play by play by play basis? What decision do you make at what moment? How do you kind of see the whole field without not being obsessed with seeing just a certain aspect or person or defense? I listen, Dan, there's no quarterback in the NFL that plays at a really high level without really good players and coaching around them. We just don't see that. And there's no quarterback in the NFL that has bad players or coaches around them that plays at a high level, maybe other than like Lamar for stretches. So it always takes this. Brock Purdy is a really good player that is playing at an incredibly high level. I think it's not ridiculous. I think it's unfair for us to put him in a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, Lamar conversation, but he absolutely has earned the right to be in that top 10 borderline conversation. And he's playing exactly how Kyle needs him to play.
Dan Orlovsky of the Mothership. You can see him NFL Live Monday through Friday at 4 Eastern. You can also see him on First Take and Get Up and some of the other properties there at the Mothership. The Justin Jefferson injury, what's the fallout going to be?
The Vikings have one focus right now. Easy for me to say. I'm not in the locker room. How do we keep Justin Jefferson? That's, I think, their number one thing. They're not a playoff football. I didn't think they were a playoff football team with Justin. I don't think they're obviously going to be one without Justin. And so now, because of the injury, because of the way the team's playing, and obviously because of where Kirk sits contract-wise, there's a lot of question marks. And I think organizationally, they have to have the very hard question of like, how do we keep Justin Jefferson? What's the way? And I think the easy thing is like, well, money. Everyone's going to want to pay Justin Jefferson. It's not going to be just a money thing. Justin, I would imagine, wants to play with a really good quarterback at a very high level who he thinks is going to be there for a long-term period of time. Whether he determines that Kirk Cousins or not, I don't know.
Devonte Adams sounded a little frustrated last night. He had one target first half. He had 4 targets the entire game. And after the game, and then I heard some of his comments, and I'm thinking, if I'm the Raiders, do I at least explore trading him, maybe reuniting him with Derek Carr? Like, where are the Raiders go? I don't think Jimmy G's the quarterback next year or Josh McDaniels is the coach with the Raiders. So where are you going with that team, that roster, and a guy who is 30 years of age, used to being, singled out, getting a lot of targets, and now you get one in the first half?
Yeah, and it's weird because I just watched Cincinnati without T. Higgins throw the ball 19 times to Jamar Chase on Sunday.
Yeah.
So that's why overall, Dan, I never like when people are like, well, it's hard to get your guy the ball when they're double teaming him. I've thrown the ball to Calvin Johnson 15 times in a game when he was getting double teamed. So you throw the ball to those guys, that's, I think, on the treetop you go, absolutely, because I don't think that the Raiders are a real player right now, but it's easy to say that when you're not Josh, you're not Dave Ziegler, their general manager. And so if those guys have security, then it's probably a worthy conversation, because then maybe you provide yourself assets to go get a quarterback in the next draft. We know that they tried to go get CJ Stroud this past year. But if those guys are still in limbo, I don't think you can move them, because he's by far your best offensive player.
Yeah. How does Caleb Williams not become the next?
The next what? Superstar?
Yeah.
I think that there's probably one gripe I have about Caleb's game. I think Caleb is unbelievable, and he's at worst going to be the number 2 pick in the NFL draft at worst. He does not play a ton in structure. He does not play a ton on time. Now, part of that is his style. Part of that is because he's the best player on the field usually every game. Part of that is because he creates a ton of big plays, and it's a little bit of Patrick Mahomes in him, right? There is a little bit of that mindset. We have seen those guys that are outrageously talented have to do that in the NFL for periods of time. We've seen it with Patrick Mahomes. We've seen it with Josh Allen. We've seen it with Lamar. Can Caleb get there? I would imagine so. He's incredibly talented. I just haven't seen it at the college level, probably because it hasn't been asked and or demanded of him. But that would be the only reason why, other than like injury or something, God forbid. But he's a superstar. Him and Drake May, it's going to be a fascinating debate. Who's going to go one?
Oh, so you think there's still, once the scouts get a hold of these guys, the teams get a hold of these guys, that you think there's a chance Drake May could be the first quarterback off the board?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a huge Drake May fan.
Okay, I'm going to give you the number one pick. You're the Bears. Got the number one pick.
Right now?
Right now.
Man. I think right now I still take Caleb Williams. That's without studying, these guys in and out over into the spring. Right now I take Caleb. I've called a couple of Drake May games. I will not be alone in thinking he is going to be in conversation for the number one pick. I promise you that. He's got a lot of Big Ben in his game.
Big Ben.
Yeah, big time.
Okay. And then
big, athletic, powerful dude, still sloppy mechanically a little bit, but great vision, great feel, throws a beautiful different leveled or layered football. He's awesome.
Sounds like you're in love.
I think he's a superstar in the NFL. I do.
Okay. The wall behind you, I've got you with all your uniforms. Is that all the stops in your career? Who painted that?
Man. Yeah, man. That's also when I yell at my kids the same face I make in the Colts uniform. Do you remember the name Chris Myers? He was the longtime great center for the Texans, Pro Bowler for a bunch of years. Him and I teammates, and he had actually that painted for me. So it's kind of the only thing I have in my house of my playing days.
So if I walked in, it'd take me a while to realize you played in the NFL.
Yeah, I fight with my wife all the time because my wife wants to put all stuff up and all that. And I am very against it because we have 4 kids, 3 of them are boys. I don't want my boys to feel like this overwhelming pressure that dad did this, so you have to go do that type of thing. So, yeah.
Well, it's kind of weird, though, you have that painting in your bedroom.
This is my office.
Oh, it's your office. Oh, I thought it was in your bedroom. My bad.
This isn't just a shrine to me in my bedroom, no.
It's a lot of footballs back there. There's helmets back there.
Yeah. Well, my wife did that. That was the one thing I let her do because during COVID, we were working from home so much. So, the background with the camera shot was there. And so she was like, I want to do stuff. So footballs, helmets, I could show you. Look, we got... That's signed by Calvin. I probably made his career.
Calvin Johnson signed a football to you.
I just, my agents at CAA just sent me, someone on Twitter was like, made a highlight cut of mine. And they were like, look at this guy. So I just put it on Twitter and I wrote, could have been a Hall of Fame career. Also, is Calvin in the Hall of Fame without this 3-minute stretch?
Okay.
The Kobe Bryant book, Pine Valley. My wife's marathon medals. So yeah, bobblehead. Dan, you going? Dan, bobblehead.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, and there's no more stepping out of the end zone jokes anymore, right? You're off the hook.
I don't think those are going away.
No. Your celebration though on social media was awesome. You're off the hook. Not the only guy who stepped through the end zone.
It's twice in 2 years. Jimmy Garoppolo, who's made like $100 million, and Gardner Minshew, who's like the best backup quarterback maybe like in the last 10 years of football or something outside of Nick Foles. So I'm in good company.
I would go to that party. If it's you, Jimmy G, and Gardner Minshew, and you're having a party of quarterbacks who've stepped out of the end zone while attempting a pass, I'd go to that social.
I'd have to be the least fascinating of the three, though. Just if we think about some of the things that Jimmy certainly has been attached to off the field, and then Minshew is a walking documentary, I guess. So I would be the least fascinating of the three.
Great to talk to you again, Dan. Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thanks, bud.
That's Dan Orlovsky, NFL Live Monday through Friday at 4 Eastern, and former NFL quarterback.